Hello, and thank you for viewing this online presentation regarding the upcoming changes to off-payroll working in the private sector. My name is Jonathan Wadsworth, and I'm the Managing Director at Charles Hunter Associates. So today we'll be talking about what's happened. We'll talk about what IR35 is, details on the upcoming legislation changes, what we know and we don't, contract considerations, and any further action points required. So what exactly has happened? Well, new off-payroll rules in the private sector have been confirmed by the government. The changes are coming into force on the 6th of April 2021, so it's round the corner. Now is the time that we need to prepare for change. These rules apply to all private sector and charitable assignments through any agency. This is except very small businesses. This is also only applicable to those who operate a personal service company, or PSC, also known as a limited company. So HMRC suggests they're losing out on vast sums of tax and national insurance contributions from these PSC companies that are deemed to be employed for tax reasons. This new legislation is designed to prevent it from continuing. So from the 6th of April, all assignments, whether they are new or existing, will be subject to this new legislation. Should an assignment fall inside of IR35, and the legislation applies, then the recruitment agency must deduct all taxes and national insurance payments at source before paying the PSC company the net amount minus the statutory deductions. The stance being taken by most private sector clients is that all assignments are inside of IR35 and subject to this new legislation. So therefore, there's just no alternative but to review all PSC company assignments and ensure that from the 6th of April, the contractor chooses a viable payment model. So what is IR35? This legislation has been around a long time, and it was implemented because contractors who were deemed by HMRC to be employed for tax reasons were paying less tax than equivalent employees. This was seen as false self-employment, and as such created a set of criteria that contractors could use to determine whether or not they fall inside or outside of IR35. If you are deemed to be inside of IR35, HMRC requires you, as the contractor, to deduct the same amount of tax and national insurance than that of an employed worker. The criteria to assess whether you're inside or outside of IR35 has traditionally been based on supervision, direction, and control. Supervision being, are you supervised or overseen? Is your work checked so it meets certain standards? Direction is that is your work subject to instructions, guidance, or advice? And control, are you told or instructed how to do your work? Most, if not all, care workers and nurses would fall inside of this legislation because of the strict practices required and legislative protocol that must be followed. But to date, it seems that a large percentage of all PSC companies that fall inside of IR35 are not paying the same tax as employees. Often pay would be taken as a dividend or company profits. So detail on the upcoming legislation changes. Key changes as follows. It's the responsibility of deciding if IR35 rules apply to an assignment fall on the end client who is engaging the contractor. So the end client has to decide whether these rules apply. The end client is then required to tell Charles Hunter Associates if this assignment is inside or outside of IR35 via what we call a status determination. If this status determination does fall inside of IR35, then it's the responsibility of deducting tax and national insurance contributions of Charles Hunter Associates. Therefore, if you're inside of IR35, we, as your agency, must ensure you're paying the correct tax. Therefore, for all inside of IR35 assignments, the agency must deduct the statutory payments prior to payment of any invoice due to the PSC company. The liability of not paying correct tax falls on the agency and or the client, and any HMRC investigations would be directed to the agency for assignments worked from the 6th of April. Any monies and penalties owed to HMRC would be the liability of the recruitment agency. How will your IR35 status be determined from the 6th of April? So we've stated that the client has to determine your status. Now, HMRC have an online tool. It's called Assess Tool. CEST, and there's questions. It's like a questionnaire, and the questions are similar to what I explained about determining IR35 status before. So is there a right of substitution? Has it been exercised, and how was the substitute paid? So if you can't work, can you go to someone else and get them to do that work for you, and would you pay them yourself? The answer, typically if you're a carer or a nurse, is going to be no. Is there a right to control how the work is performed under contract or in practice? So again, it's the autonomy that you have in that assignment. Is the company, as in your limited company, responsible for defects, and has that been invoked? You know, do you have to put right what you do wrong? What are the requirements in terms of place of work and hours of work? So what autonomy do you have in agreeing where you work, when, what hours you do, what those hours will be, do you dictate shift patterns, that kind of thing? And then finally, how's that company paid? So what we know and we don't know. So we know that we have to act. It is the law. There's no alternatives. Tax evasion is illegal. Clearly, everyone has to do the right thing and ensure everything's put in place correctly. Charles Hunter Associates has a huge responsibility to make sure this is put into place and correct. We know that this legislation is coming into play on the 6th of April. And it's widely accepted that most, if not all, assignments are going to be deemed to be inside of IR35 legislation. So care workers and nurses will now need to decide on a payment method that will best suit their needs going forward. We don't know yet the position taken of all clients. So some clients may say blanket no to limited company, even if there is a way in which you can be taxed at source. They may say no. And clients may have preferred payment methods. They may just say blanket PAYE. So there is a consideration of your end client as to payment methods as well. But for you guys as contractors, how will you get paid from the 6th of April? So 3 traditional methods here: PSC companies, your limited company, umbrella companies, and PAYE. So let's talk about PSC companies. So if the client allows it, you could still operate through a PSC company. However, your weekly pay will be sent to you minus all PAYE deductions, tax and national insurance. We have to deduct this at source. We will then send your tax payments straight to HMRC. You'd need suppliers with a P45 and NI details so we can process your tax. If you are currently operating your PSC outside of IR35, your income's going to reduce. Rightly or wrongly, your income will reduce because you have to be paying the correct tax. Even though Charles Hunter Associates would have to make tax deductions, you would still not get any employee benefits with this, such as sickness, holiday pay, pension, dismissal rights. So it doesn't come with the same employee rights that you would get through the other payment methods. However, we can support this. We can deduct the tax at source if the client accepts it. We have very up-to-date and state-of-the-art systems that are fully linked up to HMRC RTI payments. So if this is the payment method of choice and we can do it and the client agrees to it, we can facilitate it. Umbrella companies will employ you through a PAYE system, meaning all statutory deductions are taken care of. Umbrella companies are not in scope of the new legislation because they're already operating within PAYE. Your hourly rate will stay the same as it is now if you're a limited company. However, bear in mind that your hourly rate, as you should well be aware, if your PSC company includes employer costs, which is employer tax and holiday pay. So hence why a PAYE rate is traditionally lower than umbrella and limited. Also, we have an approved list of umbrella companies who have been fully audited and provide a regulated service, and that is the only option for a contractor who works with Charles Hunter Associates. It must be an accredited umbrella company, of which the list we can provide to all of our candidates. There are an awful lot of tax evasion schemes out there, and we have to ensure that doesn't happen. You would have comprehensive insurance through an umbrella company. You'd have access to employee benefits, so sickness pay, holiday pay, pension, dismissal rights. You wouldn't need to continue to request P45 details when changing assignments and agencies. Excellent support through our accredited companies. One caveat is some nursing clients who have a concessional status mean that we can't support umbrella company working. You'll be informed if you're a nurse who works for us if umbrella company working cannot be facilitated. Just to reiterate the umbrella trap. So again, beware of umbrella companies offering high take-home net pay. We've experienced this issue before. The public sector had this same legislation come in 2017, and it was a huge problem. Uncompliant umbrella companies will be evading tax, which is illegal. You would be liable for that tax if you investigate an HMRC, put a case against you. I mean, people have lost everything because of this. You just need to look on the internet. There have been cases against people who've used tax evasion systems. It's just absolutely got to be kept away with. We only use FCSA or professional passport umbrella companies. These are two auditing bodies. That way we know that any umbrella company is paying the correct tax, and most clients are also behind that. So I'd say 90%, if not 95% of our clients also have the same criteria. So if you're not happy with the choice of FCSA or professional passport, it's very unlikely you'll be able to work anywhere that isn't accepting that, because the industry is has to be monitored. And then you've got agency PAYE going straight through Charles Hunter Associates. So your hourly rate would reduce. It's roughly about 22% less than a limited or a PSC rate. They include allowances for statutory employer taxes, so NICs, and also holiday pay. So effectively, when you go umbrella or through limited company, your end result will end up being pretty much the same anyway, or it should be. If it's not, there's a serious problem. You need to talk to your agency. But anyone working through Charles Hunter Associates and a compliant umbrella company will be taken home, give or take, the same as PAYE. You also get access to holiday pay, statutory sick pay, pension scheme. All your employee rights are there as a PAYE worker. So from that action point, we will obviously be provided with a status determination, and we will let you know that from the clients, and we'll let you know if your assignment falls inside. You'll then need to choose a viable payment model in time for the change. Our last payroll is weekend on the 28th of March to ensure that when we pay you after that, you are having your tax status correctly adhered to. Nurses will be informed whether your place of work come under a concession, meaning that umbrella company isn't a viable option, but we'll clearly let you know individually. But what we can say is that any further information, you can contact us. We've got an email address here, socialcaretemps@charecruitment.com. You should have your consultant's number as well. You can contact me, Jonathan Wadsworth. I can speak with you further about it. But all I can say is that it's time to act. This change is happening, and it's something that just must be put into place. So thanks so much for listening, and I'm sure if we tackle this quickly and get it all sorted, we'll be all fully tax compliant with your placements going forward. Thanks ever so much.